everyone, my name is Sam Willens, your mother of Valkyries, and your host of the Sword and the Ribbon podcast. This week we will be talking about listening to your body and giving you tools that will help you to pay attention to your body. So before we jump in, I want to give you a trigger warning. This episode contains themes about body dysmorphia, mental illness, negative thinking, weight, and other related topics. If any of those topics are something that will upset you or cause any type of negative impact, I would recommend skipping this episode. And it's not an easy topic for anyone to talk about, including myself, but I think it is important for us to discuss. Can you even hear your body? Your body is talking to you every day, whether or not you are listening. And Dr. Sandro D. Amico, a doctor of natural medicine, states, "Our bodies do talk to us, but they generally don't use the English language. They talk to us in the language of feeling or sensation." Here's how it works. Your brain is continuously gathering information through your sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, etc. It is also gathering information through internal sense receptors located in muscles, joints, and internal organs. As your internal organs and tissues move towards or away from balance and optimal function, these receptors will register the changes and send the information along to the brain. These nerve signals are then perceived at a conscious level as sensations in various locations throughout the body. So what does all that sciencey talk mean? It means that how your body feels is its way of communicating with you. Every signal your body is sending is how it is trying to speak to you. It's saying, "Hey, pay attention to me." But most people don't have the time or space to hear their body. We are so ingrained to fight hard and keep going. With hustle culture and people praising others for always being busy, many of us don't know or were not taught how to rest, myself included. Why is rest so important? Just like when you cannot hear a whisper when you walk through the busy streets of Volaris, if you don't spend some quiet time with your body, you may not be able to hear your body speaking. When you rest, quiet your mind, and still your body, you will be able to hear it speaking easier. And as a quick side note, for those of us who experience periods and monthly cycles, what our bodies need may change depending on the time of the month. Depending on where you are in your cycle, you may have the energy to work out or you may not. And on March 1st, the Valkyrie Squad actually is launching a mini cycle syncing workout program if you want more info on what workouts to do depending on the phase of your cycle. And if you're listening to this in the future, go check it out. One of the ways members of the Valkyrie Squad take their time to listen to our bodies is through the practice of mind stilling. If you are curious about the history and benefits of mind stilling, check out episode 2 and listen to our first bonus episode for the original mind stilling guide. During the practice of mind stilling, we scan our bodies to intentionally notice what we are feeling in each part of our body. You recognize where you are feeling good, okay, strong, but we also recognize what parts are not feeling so great. Maybe you are feeling sore from a previous day's workout, or maybe you're experiencing some pain from an injury. When you are in the practice of mind stilling, you recognize whatever you are feeling and then let that feeling go. And once you finish your mind stilling practice, we can address what you discovered your body was feeling and what it was saying to you. But before we get to what your body is saying, we're going to take a detour and talk about what feelings might come up when you scan your body. Picture it. Your name is Mulan. You want to please your family. They want you to go get married to a man, but you want so much more. You go for a walk and look into a pond and see your reflection. Maybe you just start singing, "Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me?" I'm so sorry, I do not have a singing voice, but you get the idea. When you are unhappy with something you see in your appearance or body, it's called body dysmorphia. Obviously, I am not a doctor or a medical professional, so I looked up what the Mayo Clinic says about body dysmorphia. It says, when you have body dysmorphic disorder, you focus on your appearance and body image. You can't stop thinking about one or more self-perceived defects or flaws in your appearance. A flaw that appears minor or can't be seen by others. But you may feel so embarrassed, ashamed, and anxious that you may avoid many social situations. There are varying degrees of body dysmorphia, and every person experiences it differently. If you feel like you are struggling with body dysmorphia, I would highly recommend you speak to a trained professional about it. I won't go into detail about the different experiences people have with it because I don't know how you feel. But I do know that many of us struggle with the feeling of not liking what we see in the mirror. And these feelings might come up when you are doing your body scan. So, what can you do about it? A first step could be to get curious about where those thoughts are coming from. When a thought comes into your head, ask yourself a few questions like, where did that thought come from? Did something cause that thought? Who taught me to think like that? Is that thought actually true? Asking yourself these questions might help you put words and context to a thought that may or may not be true about yourself. This process of having curiosity about where our thoughts come from turns the page on how we think. When you recognize our negative thoughts, it gives us the opportunity to change them and shift what you are thinking about yourself. Dr. Lisa W. Coyne from McLean Hospital has 4 simple steps to stop negative thoughts. Step 1, pause a moment. If you are feeling stressed, anxious, or stuck in negative thinking patterns, pause. Focus your awareness on the world around you with your 5 senses. This step is exactly what we do as Valkyries when we are practicing mind stealing. But continuing on. Step 2, notice the difference. Notice the difference between being stuck in your thoughts versus experiencing the present moment through your 5 senses. Notice also what you have been up to in your mind. Were you arguing with yourself? Struggling with disproving negative or critical self-evaluations? Trying to push unpleasant thoughts or images out of your head? Ask yourself whether this mental struggle is serving you well. Step 3, label your thoughts. If this mental struggle is not serving you well, see if you can step back and label your thoughts as they are, rather than literal truths. For example, you might practice slowing down your thoughts and adding to them the stem, I am having the thought that, and continue this practice of labeling without attempting to soften, change, or avoid whatever thoughts you happen to be having. See if you can notice what it is like to have some distance between you, the thinker, and your thoughts. Step 4, choose your intention. Once you have paused, noticed, and labeled your thoughts, you are better able to choose your intention and the next right step for you. Are you going to continue to struggle with your thoughts? Or what are you going to choose to do about it? Okay, so I think Dr. Cohn's steps are great, but I personally recommend adding a 5th step. Step 5 would be to reframe your thought into something positive. When that negative thought comes up, think about how you can change that thought or rephrase it to be the truth of what you believe about yourself instead of the lie that was the original thought. When we reframe our thoughts into something positive, it can change our whole mindset for that moment and even for the entire day. There's a ton of research out there on the impact positive thinking can have. And psychologist Dr. Martin Seligman, who is considered to be the father of positive psychology, has said, habits of thinking don't need to be forever. One of the most significant findings in psychology in the last 20 years is that individuals can choose the way they think. So step 5, I would say, is pretty important. Deciding to change a negative thought into a positive one. We can do this for ourselves, but also for our friends, family, or inner circle. When you hear a friend or mate talking negatively about themselves, choose to call it out in a kind way and reframe it for them. For example, let's say you are hanging out with your best friend and they say something mean to themselves about the way they look. Instead of ignoring the comment, say to them, hey, you shouldn't talk so negatively about yourself. Besides, it's not even true because I think you look fabulous today. Calling negative thinking out in our friends, inner circle, community, or seasonal court is for their own growth, but it also impacts our own speech about ourselves as well. Okay, so back on that Illyrian flight path after that little detour. Once you do your body scan after mind stilling, you change your thinking to be positive. What are you supposed to do about it? If you're feeling great, prepared, peaceful, fabulous. Go out there, kick ass, and have a magical fucking day. But you also might decide you're still feeling shitty or have some body pain. 2 things that really help me when I'm feeling like garbage is to either work out or do some self-care. And for another minor detour, I don't mean the type of self-care we see on Instagram or in the media. Let me tell you what self-care is not. It's not just bath bombs and face masks. The purpose of self-care is to do something that brings you comfort and healing. The literal dictionary definition of self-care has two definitions. Definition 1 is self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. Definition 2 is self-care is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. So if bath bombs and face masks make you happy and protect your well-being, then do them. But if that's not what brings you happiness, don't do them. It's definitely not for me. I personally like to clean and organize my own space. That's self-care to me. Self-care is individual to you for what will improve your own physical and mental health. Instead of thinking of it as one more thing we have to do, like, oh my God, I have to do this clay face mask tonight, but I'm so tired. Thinking of it as doing something that is comforting or beneficial to you. Maybe your self-care for you is painting in the rainbow of Valaris, or baking with Nuala and Caradwyn, or even getting outside your own four walls and doing whatever makes you happiest. Okay. No more detours on this flight path, or Cass and Azrael will be kind of mad at us. 2 things that help me when I'm not just feeling myself. Self-care, which we just talked about, and working out. If you think working out is the way to go, first you got to decide if your body can handle working out. That discomfort or soreness or pain you felt earlier, is it something that should keep you on the bench or something you can push through? If you are unsure, the first thing you need to recognize what type of muscle soreness you feel. There are 2 different types of muscle soreness. One is acute muscle soreness, and it's not like cute like that, which is felt during or immediately after your workout, which can go away pretty quickly. 2 is delayed onset muscle soreness, also known as DOMS for short. This is pain and stiffness you feel 24 to 72 hours after a workout. This is where if we are chasing the no pain, no gain feeling in a workout and don't feel immediately sore afterwards, you can put yourself at risk for injury, especially when you decide you need to do more of a workout. So once you assess your soreness and you feel sore going into your next workout, I recommend taking some time to foam roll those areas to break up lactic acid or doing mobility to help you move easier. But if you are feeling pain that isn't soreness, that is when you need to rest, foam roll, stretch, heat or ice the area, and in some cases, see a professional to help. Research has shown that even if you don't want to work out, if you can find the motivation to start, usually you will feel better. And remember, and just because you decided to start working out doesn't mean you can't stop during it. Go start the workout. If you're not feeling it, you can stop. And it's okay to stop. No one is forcing you to finish that workout. Or you can completely readjust your course. I've been in a tough workout and needed to fully stop and purely focus on stretching. And it turns out that's just what my body needed instead. Remind yourself, I'm trying, and if I can't mentally commit, then I can stop. And if you need it, I give you permission. Once you start your workout, check in and see if your mindset shifts at all. Sometimes even just the act of getting ready to work out can encourage you to continue your workout. But if you hit a wall, reevaluate and do what you think you can handle, even if that means stopping. No matter how your workout goes or how you feel about your body, be proud of your body and all the things it can do for you. Don't forget to celebrate the small wins and accomplishments. Maybe today, instead of a modified plank, you were able to do a full plank. Maybe you were able to carry your huge-ass pet around without being out of breath. Maybe today you realized when you shoveled snow, you weren't as winded as last year. The small wins are what help us reach our big goals, no matter if they have an actual number assigned to them or not. Just like Nesta trying to climb all those stairs in A Court of Silver Flames, she did not climb all those stairs on the first try. Not on her second, third, fourth. Okay, you get the idea. But each time she tried climbing those stairs, she got a little bit farther, and that was worth celebrating. Every day is different, and every win can be different depending on the factors. Listening to your body or doing a body scan can be really helpful no matter what time of day it is. You can practice this every morning to gauge what your body is feeling. You can take brief moments throughout the day to stop and listen to your body in that moment. Even right before bed, you can do a body scan and listen to your body to see how the day went. Learning to listen to your body is a process and takes practice. Just like if you were learning to fly with Illyrian wings, you wouldn't be an expert overnight. You may even need support or guidance from your community, just like Azriel was for Feyre. Valkyrie Squad teaches you to pay attention to your body. It might be through mind stilling or exercise or listening and learning from others in the community. We are an inclusive workout community. There's no one who cannot do this, and everyone belongs. In our Discord community, we have a mental health channel for Valkyries to post their struggles and support one another. One common idea that I frequently see posted in there is the idea of dissatisfaction with our bodies. When people don't necessarily hate their body, but are also not happy with it, that brings on this steady dissatisfaction. It's like this idea of not liking what they see, but still caring about their body and believing there is some standard that they have not reached. It's hard and disappointing to be in this weird limbo of not hating yourself, but also not being happy. Feelings of discontentment and inadequacy can pop up. We have to remember that we are all in progress and nothing is linear. A good reminder of that came from Valkyrie Mia, our guest on the podcast in episode 3, who recently shared something with me that I want to share with all of you. It's this idea called the rule of thirds. She shared an Instagram reel with me of Olympic athlete, poet, and filmmaker Alexi Pappas, sharing a training experience she had. The experience she shares in the reel and her book, titled Bravey, is this idea called the rule of thirds. She talks about when she was facing a difficult training period before the Rio Olympics. Her coach told her not to worry, this was simply the rule of thirds. He said, when you're chasing a big goal, you're supposed to feel good a third of the time, okay a third of the time, and crappy a third of the time. And if the ratio is roughly in that range, then you're doing fine. I love this idea of thirds. It's about finding and accepting the balance of crap days, great days, and hard days. Just like when Nesta, Gwyn, and Emery were training to become Valkyries. Some days were crap, when their muscles ached so badly after balancing drills. Some days were great, like when they completed the blood right obstacle course Cassian set up for them. And some days were just hard, but they saw progress, and I would bet there were a bunch of days like this, small bursts of progress in their training that did not come easily. It's important to remind yourself of this so you can recognize that fluctuations in how we feel day to day are part of the process. Instead of letting yourself get discouraged or hit the wall and quit, understand that progress isn't linear, and we will have highs and lows along the way, and it's normal. Listening to our bodies can help identify what kind of day we are having and how we best can take care of ourselves. This week's piece of Cauldron Blessed Wisdom is, don't be the version of Mulan that stares at her reflection in the water, but be the version of Mulan that is on the mountain, unafraid to get down to business to defeat the Huns. Hua! And the way you get there is recognizing the truth inside of you and being true to your heart. You must be true to your heart. That you are strong, worthy, capable, and beautiful inside and out. This week, I would encourage you to spend time listening to your body. Hopefully you picked up on some of those tools throughout this episode, but if you need a reminder, grab a notebook and a pen to write down those steps when you re-listen. Me, the podcast team, and the squad want to hear how it went. So tag us on Instagram and share a moment with us of how you listened to your body, reframed your thoughts, or did some self-care that was meaningful to you. And remember, be strong, kick ass, and be fucking magical every day. This episode was produced by Bex Castro, Mia Garlock, and Carolyn McMorrin. Special thank you to Taylor Ash for creating the music of this podcast. And thanks for listening to The Sword and the Ribbon by the Micro Squad. If you're interested in learning more about the Valkyrie Squad, visit us at thevalkyriesquad.com. If you're interested in learning more about the Micro Squad or Geek Gym for a class, visit us at themicrosquad.com. And make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcast from so you don't miss out. And if you liked this week's episode, please leave us a review.